a hand to Miss Glinda and her team. I think they did a wonderful job. And then, can you give yourself a hand for showing up? But I have to tell you that I'm very impressed because not every teenager wants to get up out of bed on a Saturday morning to be in this kind of a forum. So it tells me something about you already. So my name is Georgia Bryce, as was said earlier. I'm a glamorous leader. I'm a glam leader and everything and a bag of chips. And if I don't do that for me, then nobody's going to do it for me. So you have to do it for yourself as well. As Miss Glinda alluded to earlier on, I have several things going on in my life. I have a bachelor's degree in environmental science. I have a master's degree in environmental engineering. I'm also currently in school doing a second master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I own my own business, as she said earlier. It's called Building According to Pattern, and it's designed to help people find their own unique blueprint. How many of you know that you are a unique person? And that everything about you is unique and distinct, and you don't have to pattern anybody else's life except your own. That's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. In addition to that, I also do coaching. I'm a certified professional and personal life coach. I also have another organization that I started called Bryce Legacy Group, and it pulls different people together. That's why I know Glinda, and that's why I know Anita, because they're a part of my group. Finally, I'm a minister of the gospel, and that's probably the most important part of my life. But today, what I wanted to talk to you about is the whole aspect of leadership. How many of you here believe that you are a leader? Now, whether you lead other people or not, you are always going to be leading at least one person. Who do you think that person is? Yourself. Beautiful. So my topic, think like a leader, act like a leader. Does that remind you of anything? Okay, so we're bumping that today, and we're saying we're going to think like leaders, and not only are we going to think like leaders, we're going to act like leaders, correct? So I have a little video that I want to be able to assess where your mind is as far as leadership is concerned. So as the video is being shown, I want you to pay close attention to the activity that you see taking place. If you want to write down what your impression is, write it down. But pay close attention because it's going to speak volumes. And Anita, I have to thank you for sending me this video because when I got it, it was extremely powerful. Think of it in terms of leadership and being a leader. What were some of the other impressions you got? Yes? One fell over the rope. Okay, no problem. But it crossed over, right? Okay, yes. Say it louder so they can hear you. Beautiful. Anybody else? It took one penguin. One penguin started the movement, and then all the other penguins tried following. Anybody else? Yes.
One penguin went over the rope, and the other penguins was hesitant. But when the first penguin was okay, they started to move.
Good, good. Anybody else? One more person? Yes, no? Do I need to pick on people? Yes. Learn from others' mistakes, okay? Now, did you see yourself in any of these penguins?
Yes.
In what way? The leader, the one who starts things. Yeah, like you're the trendsetter, right? Okay, anything else? Do you remember seeing that penguin that actually tried crossing over? Its little foot got stuck, and instead of it trying to cross over, it went back? It gave up, yeah. Anybody else? Anything else that you saw? You remember that penguin that just crossed over real easily? You were going to say it? I'm sorry. Say it, sister, say it. You were talking about the one that crossed first. Okay, so there was one penguin that was able to get over the rope with ease. So when I saw this video, it spoke volumes to me, and I wanted to show it to the group because what it just demonstrated is that each of those penguins had to make a move for themselves, leading themselves, but how leadership played out was different for each one of them. Some penguins had it easier. They were able to cross that rope with ease. Some of them tried crossing over and they fell on their stomach, but they kept going. And then there was that one penguin that got his foot caught, and it gave up and it turned back. And that is something that is so characteristic of every one of us. At some point in time, you might find yourself going through all of that process where we saw each of those penguins going through. But what I want to do today is to help you put some things in place to help you develop more effectively as a leader. So what is leadership? I chose this definition that was given by my former mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe. He died in November of 2014 in a plane crash in the Bahamas. But he is still he is still my mentor because I still have his books. You go on YouTube, his videos are there. Still prolific in my mind. He's very much alive. But he encapsulated the whole idea of leadership in a very powerful way because you hear the concept of leadership a lot, but the definitions are very minimal. He says leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration that is motivated by passion, generated by a vision, produced by conviction, ignited by purpose. How many of you have ever heard those terms that I have underlined? Capacity. What does capacity speak to? Limit. Okay, anything else? Your capacity to do something. Your potential. What else? Your ability, right? How about influence? You heard of the word influence. What does it mean? Yes. To motivate. Absolutely. Passion. Inspiration. Yes. You inspire others. Now, all of us are here because Glinda of O.K.A.Y Institute inspired us to be here, correct? Yes. And then vision. Anybody has heard the word vision? Yes. Okay, good, because we're going to talk about that a little bit. Conviction. How about conviction? You've heard that term before, right? Beautiful. And purpose. Yes. Wonderful. Now, I came up with a definition for what a glam leader represents, and I know that I'm all of this, and I believe everybody sitting here is representing themselves accordingly. So a glam leader is a young woman who has discovered, number one, she is important. Number two, that her life has purpose. 3, she was born to contribute something of value to her generation. 4, she is spending time to discover who she is as an individual. Number 5, she positively influences others by the way she chooses to live her life. And as I was putting together this definition, I deliberately used the word chooses because for you to be a leader, that's an absolute choice. Everything is contingent on what you decide to do with your life. And as you lead, remember that first penguin that we saw a while ago? What did it do? It wasn't thinking of anything. It just went and did what it had to do, correct? Yeah. And then everybody started following. I don't think the penguin actually got up to cross the rope because it was trying to get people to follow. The truth is, leaders never necessarily go looking for people to follow them. Leaders follow you because they see a passion in you. There is something that you're doing that captures their attention, and they want to be a part of that process. That's what it means to be a leader. So now I've written down a list of the very famous leaders that I know. You might be able to recognize some of them. Some of them you probably might not be able to recognize them. Jesus Christ, who is the creme de la creme leader of all times. This man was such a bad boy. He started an organization over 2,000 years ago with only 12 men. 2,000 years later, that organization has evolved to be the largest organization in the world. Still going. The principles he employed to run his organization, people in the secular world, in the church world, they're still using it. Lloyd Bryce. Anybody know who Lloyd Bryce is? Louis Easington. Miles Monroe. Dr. Cindy Trim. Dr. Pepe Ramnath. Corinne Bruno. And of course, who's at the bottom? Georgia Bryce. Now, when I talk about famous leaders, maybe the first thing that might come to your mind is, well, I don't see Mahatma Gandhi, I don't see Martin Luther King, I don't see Malcolm X, all the famous leaders that we typically know of. But as I was putting together this presentation, I decided to write the famous leaders that are personable to me. Because as you're going to discover, if you take this whole idea of leadership real seriously, you're going to have to find people who are within your circle of influence that you could reach out and touch and that could pour back into your life. All of these people have touched my life in a very special way. It may have been different for every one of them, but all of them represent leadership at a level that I have the utmost respect for, and I'm not able to pattern my life after them. So I want to talk about fundamentals of leadership. One of the things that I've discovered about true, authentic leaders who are effective in their lives are governed by certain status quos, or principles, or things that are fundamental to them. Every one of them live these things out. And this is just a handful of stuff that I've identified because I have found myself beginning to pattern those things in my life as well. And I want to encourage you to listen carefully to what these represent and find a way to begin incorporating it into your life if you're going to become effective as a leader. And you don't need to be an adult to lead. How many of you lead right now? You got friends and you are the one who sets the pace and everybody follows you, right? Beautiful. Self-discovery, purpose, vision, character, conviction, environment. All of these things are essential if you are going to become an effective leader. So let's dig into them. The first thing about an effective leader is that this person has gone through a process of self-discovery and is still going through the process of self-discovery. What exactly is self-discovery? It is a personal encounter with what? The real you. Now, do you know that there are a lot of people who don't know who they really are? Like they have a mask for where they are at school. When they get home, they're a different person. When they get to church, they're a different person. When they get around their friends, they're a completely different person. They're so confused about themselves or their own identity, because that's what it means for self-discovery, that you begin taking on parts of people. You take on one person's personality, and when you get around another group of people, you begin to take on their personality to become like them because you want to fit in with the crowd. But an authentic leader is somebody who's gone through a process of coming into an understanding of who he or she is. They have established their identity. Number one, that you're unique, that you are an individual, that you are separate from everybody that's around you. You have your own unique gifts, and even though other people might have the same kind of gifts that you do, they can't do it like you. You have your own talents. You have your own inner strength and resources. You have your own potentials. You have your own abilities. You have your own passions. That is what makes you a unique person, and that is what gives you your identity. True leadership is really about self-discovery. Nobody can lead if they have not truly found out who they are as an individual. That's where it starts. So this is where the starting point is. You need to go through a process of self-discovery if you are going to fulfill your life, number one, and then you're going to fulfill your purpose. If you don't know who you are, you cannot be your most authentic self. And if you don't know who you are, you cannot fulfill the assignment for which you were put in the earth. How many of you know that you're here for a reason? You're not here because you're cute alone. You're not here to go through all the standard stuff of going to school, getting a good education, getting a job, getting married, get the white picket fence, the dog, the cat, the house, etc., etc. All of that's all good and well. But every person that came on this planet came with a specific assignment. And your responsibility is to spend the rest of your life finding out what that assignment is and going after it with everything that's on the inside of you. The only way you're going to be able to positively influence anybody is when you know who you are. That is tied to identity. That's the only way. Number two, purpose. My mentor was known as Mr. Purpose because he spent his entire life talking about purpose. I love it. What is purpose? It is the reason why something exists. Why do we have chairs? Why do we have tables? Why do you have shoelace?
So
You tie your shoe. Why do you have glasses? So you can see. So it sounds like everything that we see around us, whether we understand the value that it brings or represents, it serves a purpose, right? So purpose speaks to the reason for your existence. Why were you born? Somebody tell me, why were you born? Yes? So God could use you. Beautiful. But what is he going to use it to do?
That's what you have to find out.
Ah, that's the self-discovery part. Your purpose, when you come into an understanding of what your purpose is, let me tell you what purpose does for you. Purpose governs your life exclusively. Purpose sets the agenda to your life. It determines the choices that you make in your life, whether it's with regards to your friends that you choose to hang out with regards to the places you choose to go hang out. It was purpose that actually brought you into this room today. Because I'm sure everybody's sitting in here because you want to get something to take back out with you so you can start implementing in your lives, correct? Purpose is going to drive everything about you, whatever it is that you do. Your behaviors, your attitudes, your choices, your relationships, your time schedule. Everything revolves purpose. Now let me ask you a question. If you don't know what your purpose is, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to waste your life. You're going to waste your life doing everything that has nothing to do with you. And you're going to be miserable. Vision. What is vision?
What you can see.
What you can see. Vision is your purpose in pictures. How many of you dream? How many of you imagine when you get older what it is that you want to do with your lives? Beautiful. Now, vision creates a specific pathway. If you look at that photo, that road that's heading into all the way out there where we don't know is highlighted in blue. That's what vision does for you. Vision sets you on a specific pathway that is designed to take you into your destiny. If you don't have a vision for your life, this is what the manual says, and I'm going to get to you and tell you what the manual is. Without vision, people cast off restraint. It means you have no discipline. It means you have no structure. It means you go with anybody you want to go with, do anything you want to do because you have no plan about where you're going to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. But when you get a vision or a picture of your purpose, it is going to determine I'm going to be in school, I'm going to get the grades I need to get so that I could get the grants and the scholarships to get into the college I want to get into. So I'm going to follow the pathway in college for those 4 years to take the degree that I want to get so that I could go into the field of career that I want to get into. I could meet the person, the right person who is on the same plane as I am, get married, have some kids, and the rest is history. All of that is tied to your vision. And if that is not down packed, it means you're going to get with anybody, you're going to go anywhere, and you're going to do anything. Do you understand why vision is important?
Yes.
Beautiful. Now, I also want you to pay attention to all the roads that are winding in and out. Those roads might represent the vision for other people. Is it yours? No, it's not. So if you get off on one of those side roads, you know what's going to happen? Where you need to travel to get into your destiny, you're going to miss it. So you will come to the end of your life and not fulfill that thing that you were specifically designed with all of your gifts and your passions and your talents and your abilities. You will not get into that place to make it into your destiny. So it's very important that you capture your purpose, and that purpose is your vision in pictures. Character. Beautiful. Now, we live in a country that celebrates talents and gifts. How many of you know some people who are just talented, but my God, they are rude as hell. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to behave. They don't know how to save money. Their life is a complete wreck. You know why? This thing called character, it's missing. One of the terminologies for the word character, believe it or not, is the word statue. You know what a statue is? For those of you who don't know, what statue is that? The Statue of Liberty. Now, when I was doing my research, the Statue of Liberty was built they started construction in 1875. They finished building in 1886, and it was open to the public. Do you know that ever since they planted that statue in New York, that every day you go to New York, if you want to go see that statue, it's going to be at that place. That statue sits in that same spot, whether it's raining, whether it's dry, whether there's a snowstorm. When 9/11 came, the statue was still in place. When they had that storm, that funny storm that ran through that area a couple of years ago, it was still in place. If somebody sits on the statue is still there. If somebody pees on the statue is still there. If some bird flies over and craps on the statue, does the statue move?
No.
It stays right intact, right where they planted it back in 1886. That is what character is about. Character speaks to engraved qualities of honesty, integrity, trust, loyalty, discipline, faithfulness. What it means then is that those things do not change. Rain, sunshine, bird doodle, bird pee, people pee, whatever it is, that thing is going to stay firm. Nothing changes a statue. It stays right where it's at. That is what it means to have character. How many of you believe that you are people of character? How many of you want to strengthen your character? Because that's always a work in progress, right? Now, I chose another definition for character. Character is your disposition based on the premium that you place on yourself. And when I talk about premium, I mean value. If you place value on yourself, the more value you put on yourself, you know what's going to happen to your character? The more valuable you are, and the more your character is going to grow stronger and stronger. The more people are going to respect you. The more value you are going to bring to the people that are around you. But if your character is not where it needs to be, then it's going to be very hard for people to respect you. And you develop something called a bad reputation. Reputation is tied to character. And if you are an authentic leader, this is something that you will spend the rest of your life working on. Conviction. I like that word. Now when you see that photo, what comes to your mind? Yes, ma'am. Only one is green, okay. Unique. Beautiful. Anything else? Yes.
The green one is standing out.
The green one is standing out. Yes. The green one's a leader. Wonderful. When we talk about conviction, it means you have a fixed or firm belief in who you are and what you represent. So now, does a person with conviction move with the crowd, or they stay right where they're at?
Stay right where
They stay right where they're at. Because you are convinced in your mind, number one, that you are unique. That green ball does not have to conform to what's around it. It doesn't care that it stands out. It doesn't care that it draws attention. Because it's convinced in itself that I'm unique, that I am important, that I am valuable, and most importantly, I'm a leader. Leaders don't conform to status quo around them. In fact, Anita will tell you, leaders disrupt what is normal. That's what leaders do. Finally, environment. And I saved this for last, and I put it in yellow colors, and hopefully you could see it at the back. But environment, when I say, if you don't remember anything I say today, this is what you need to remember. Environment is everything. If you were to take a kernel of corn, everybody knows what corn is, right?
Yeah.
Corn. And you were to put that kernel of corn on a shelf in your house, and you came back 5 years later, what do you think is going to happen to that corn?
It's going to
It's going to get old. What else?
still going to be there
Still going to be there. Why?
because nobody touched it.
Now, what if I took that same kernel of corn and I went into my backyard and I planted it? What do you think is going to happen?
It's gonna
It's
sprout.
gonna grow. Why? Why is it going to sprout?
Because you planted it.
Because I planted it on what? What happens when you plant it?
It starts to grow and sprout.
Why? Don't tell me because I planted it. Tell me something else. Come on, guys. All the science people. Because the environment. What is in the environment that makes that kernel of corn to grow? Water. What else? Sunlight. Soil. Nutrients.
That's the village that right there.
There you go. So it makes a whole difference what your environment looks like, right? Now, environment, your environment, believe it or not, it is shaped by your thought process. As you think, so you are. As a man thinks, or a woman thinks, or a girl thinks, or a boy thinks, so you are. If you think small of yourself, you are going to be small. And not only are you going to be small, you're going to be small in the eyes of other people. If you think with low self-esteem, low self-worth, very poor self-image, if you think of yourself not loving yourself as you need to, if you think people look at you in a negative way or in a bad way, that's exactly how you're going to operate. But if you think of yourself as a leader, as someone with conviction and character and confidence, somebody who has purpose and somebody who's discovered her vision for her life, you're going to function accordingly. So your thought process is very, very important. If you don't think well of yourself, you are not going to live well, and people will not treat you well, because people treat you how you want. Treat yourself. Beautiful. We have a very bright bunch here. Your relationships. Oh my Lord. Your relationships shape your entire life as a leader. How many of you are here this morning because one of your friends wanted to be here and told you it was probably a good idea to show up? Stay with your friends. Relationships is everything. Everything hinges or progresses based on the relationships that you're involved with. Your friends at school, your friends at home, the people that you choose to be your role models, they shape your life. Mentors. How many of you have mentors? Have you seen the benefit of having that mentor in your life?
Yes.
That's a very powerful relationship. Relationships are either going to bring you into your destiny, or they are going to short circuit and cut your life off, and you will never become the person that you are capable of becoming. Your relationships are very powerful. Your location. Do you think you're in a good spot today?
Yes.
So this is a good location.
Yes.
The people weren't saying anything. You don't think it's a good spot to be in today?
Yes.
Okay. Are you careful about the locations that you go, the places that you go,
Yes.
where you go to hang out? All of that stuff, if you weren't thinking about it before now, you have to start thinking about it. Your locations, wherever you go to hang out, it is going to influence your leadership ability. Finally, your source of information. Very, very important. Let me tell you what information does to you. Information shapes what we call your philosophy. Your philosophy is those ideas that you love. And believe it or not, subconsciously, you live them out every day. Every day. You're either living out your personal convictions or your personal philosophies, or you're living out somebody else's. But make no mistake, you are going to be living somebody's philosophy. Either yours or somebody else. Your information, where are you getting it from? Are you getting it from social media? Are you getting it from entertainment? Are you getting it from your friends who don't know more than you know? Are you getting it from movies? Are you getting it from music? Most importantly, is your source of information accurate? Because there are many people who spend their lives gathering information from sources that are inaccurate. And if you have inaccurate sources of information, what do you think is going to happen to your life? Your life is going to be out of order. Can I get a volunteer? Don't bum rush me, no. Come on, sister. In fact, let me get 2 volunteers. Beautiful. You think you're strong enough? Okay, I want you to go into this box, and I want you to get that document that's inside of that box. And by the way, this is my juicer. I don't use it that much at home because it's too hard to clean, so I got a NutriBullet. Can you hold that up and say to the audience, and tell me, what is it she's holding in her hand?
Manual.
Instruction manual. Okay. Beautiful. What I want you to do for me with your bright self is that you're going to go through this instruction manual and you're going to read everything that's highlighted in black.
Okay.
And you're going to read it loud enough for everybody to hear.
Okay. Important safeguards. Additional.
Wait. Slow down, baby. So the importance of the instruction manual, everybody sees this thing? She's going to tell us exactly why we have instruction manual for this piece of equipment, right? Okay. Why do we have it? What's the first thing?
Oh, read. Oh, when using electrical.
No. You're going to say what this is.
Oh,
that word.
safeguards.
Important safeguards. So the first thing the instruction manual tells you is what the important safeguards are for this piece of equipment.
Additional safety.
Additional safeguards. So not only does it list a whole page of stuff that you need to be mindful of, it tells you some additional things that you need to be aware of, right? Okay.
Parts.
Parts. You think you're strong enough to lift that up, baby?
I can try.
Go ahead, sister. And I want you to hold it in, no, hold here. Hold it in the box. Hold it in such a way that everybody could see the different parts to it. Everybody could see that they just kind of showed a photo of all the different parts that making this thing up. Now, what do you think happens if a part is missing? Can't use it. Can't use it. All right.
Operation.
Say it again.
Operation.
Operation. Now, what happens if you take this piece of equipment and you do not follow the instructions regarding operations? It's going to malfunction. It's going to be a hot mess. You're going to call the manufacturer. You're going to cuss and say, why did you sell me a piece of equipment that does not work? And you know what they're going to ask you? Did you follow the operations manual? Correct? Cleaning. That's the next set of instructions that's listed here. They tell you exactly how to clean this, and it's not easy to clean. That's why I don't use it anymore. But it tells you exactly how to clean it. Because if you don't clean it as it needs to be cleaned, what could happen?
It could get messed up.
It could get messed up, and then you can't use it, right?
Troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting. What does that mean? You don't know. You've never heard that word.
Fix something.
When something goes wrong with your equipment, you have this instruction to grab. You go into the troubleshooting section to see, okay, well, let me see. If I did this, then maybe this is why this is not functioning the way it needs to function, correct? That's what troubleshooting is about. Not only does it give you the troubleshooting information, it also gives you a customer assistance number that if you can't figure out what you need to do, you could call for help, right? All right. Then it gives you some technical data and a whole bunch of stuff. Then it says customer assistance. Now, one thing that every piece of equipment comes with, when it comes with a manual, thank you ladies, give them a hand please. Every piece of equipment, when you read through that manual, the last thing you'll probably read is where it says, if you don't follow the manual, you're out of luck. It's not the manufacturer's issue. It is your issue because you didn't follow the instructions. Now here's a caveat. What am I holding in my hand?
Bible.
So you call it a Bible? Let me tell you what I call this thing. It's the Human's Manual for Living. Human's Manual for Living. So everything you need to know about yourself as, how many humans we have in here?
A lot.
Can I see the hands of all the humans? Let me make sure I'm not talking to any aliens or any animals or any plants. All right, so we all agree everybody here is a human. This is your manual for instruction. It's not just a Bible, because if you think of it as just a Bible, it's going to be a religious book that you don't want to read because you don't understand it. It don't make no sense. You take it up, you go to church on Sunday morning with it, if you go to church, and then you put it at your bedside until Sunday comes. But when you begin to see this document as a manual of instructions that tells you how to live, how to govern your life, when anything goes wrong, what you need to do, if you're looking for answers or directions, all of that stuff is in the Human's Manual for Living. This source can never lead you wrong. There's no error recorded in it. It's not going to lead you astray. Let me tell you one of the most potent things this piece of document does for you. It takes you into your destiny, because that's exactly where all of us are intended to go. Everybody agree? I'm wrapping up now. So let me ask a question. Are there any glam leaders in the house? Let me see the hands of all the glam leaders. And the ones who aren't holding their hands up, you don't think you're a glam leader? You're not sure yet? Okay. How many of you gained something from this presentation today? Beautiful. I'm going to challenge you to do something when you get home. I'm going to challenge you to identify 2 people that are close to you, that you believe are good role models. You look at their lives, and they might be in a room with you right now. You look at their lives, there's some things about these people that you admire. I want you to find those 2 people. I want you to write down the things about these people that you admire. And in addition to that, I want you to set a date for when you're going to go to these 2 people and ask them if they could mentor you. And find out what it is about you that you want them to help you with. Because that's how you're going to develop your leadership. Everybody's got it? Everybody's going to commit to doing that? Yes. Your mentor is right there. Beautiful. All right, everybody, thank you so much.